What's up, guys, and welcome back to Electrix Moto. And today in the shop we are going to be tearing down an old and well-loved Light Bee, and this bad boy is going on Marketplace. But I figured this was a perfect opportunity to do a video of a complete tear down. Cody will be doing the tear down and I will be talking to you and doing the camera stuff because he's way better at it than me. But this thing is going to go on Marketplace. So we want to take this entire bike apart, get it all the way down to the frame, clean everything, replace any damaged parts before we do that. And that's going to be what this entire video series is all about. Okay, so here is the Light Bee in question. Now, if you can tell, it's been loved. Obviously, it has marks on it like every single bike does. Nothing is wrong with this bike. It's still on the factory battery. It still has the factory controller. The factory forks are still on it. Factory suspension is still on it. It does have new KKE wheels, new tires. We did get a chain that we're going to be putting on the bike. We have a new sprocket coming. It does have foot pegs. So there are some items that have been upgraded slightly, but this thing just needs to be torn down and gone through before we feel good about putting it on Marketplace. All right, so this bike has 572 kilometers, which is what, 355 miles on it. So realistically, this bike is still really, really new. And it really hasn't been ridden that hard. My son has ridden it a little bit. We've had some friends ride it, but it's just been sitting in my garage. So I figured this was a good time to just kind of tear it apart. Now, we're not going to touch the forks. We're not going to put any new forks on. We do have a Baja Designs light that's already been put on here with a bracket that we are coming up with right now that's going to work with all kinds of different lights. So we'll get into that on a later date. But this is where we're going to start. Cody's going to start taking this thing apart piece by piece, and we'll see how far we can get in today's video.
Yeah, see, that's gotta come off. Bro, I used it. Oh, come on.
All right, so through some disagreements, we were able to get, all right, so everything's off. So this next part, the jack shaft, there is a particular tool that you're going to need to get this jack shaft off. Get it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description.
Which
They're
we have
like
right
20 bucks.
We have somewhere.
You can just take them off. It'll be a lot easier this way. But then once that little thing is done, here it comes right into my hand. Oh, nice. So that's it. I'll leave the link in the description so you can pick one up, but that'll hold that jack shaft in place. So you can like take that whole thing off and we'll be able to get this swing arm completely off and see what we're actually working with.
Wiggle it out.
Okay. Really? That's a beautiful part about it.
Okay, so that's the...
All right, I'm back on camera. All right, so here's a great example of like what you don't see in your Surron. And this is why I'm cleaning this thing up and taking it apart before I sell it to somebody, because if you look, I mean, the motor, the belt drive, even like underneath the swing arm, everything is caked in mud. It's just been ridden a lot and it's never been cleaned. So even if you have a Surron, if you ride it regularly, once a year, if you can stomach it, just take the thing apart and clean everything up, get the motor out of there, make sure everything is greased and lubed well, because it's just gonna
I'll figure it out.
It's going to prolong the life of your bike as a whole. And I think that's what everybody's trying to do, especially as the bikes become more expensive. So we're to this stage. We are to the stage of now we're going to start taking apart the electrical components. We got the brake, the rear brake off, all that obviously, but get the front wheel off, get this thing down to its frame. We should be able to get it down to its frame before the end of the day, hopefully. So that's the goal. And then, next week we're going to start building it back up. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. That's the deal.
That down not too far from there. Left side, right side motor mount. Top right side, I'm sure the left side will be the same. We have all this shit too. Like you'll be like there you are. Right.
Yep. There we go. Yes, those are really nice.
Yeah.
Ball-headed Allen. Oh, all right. So things escalate. I don't think you got to see everything that we did, but things escalated pretty quickly. We've gotten everything torn apart. The problem is we're not exactly sure how to put it back together. But the only way to learn to put it back together is to tear it all apart. Cody feels way too confident. In this wiring harness fiasco, it was a disaster. So we're going to get the wheels off here, or this front wheel off, get the forks off, maybe.
I see
Don't mind the foot. It's just a foot trick. And then we'll be able to kind of talk about all the destruction that we've seen inside the bike since taking it apart and why we took it apart. And we'll just kind of like sum this video up, and then we'll move on to the next video because I don't even know how I'm going to put all this together, but hopefully it makes sense at the end. So I'm not going to say it wasn't a nightmare, because that was a nightmare doing it for the first time. But you got to get out of the way. Here's what it looks like. Literally nothing. And this is the point that I was trying to make about like cleaning this bike for somebody else or even your own bike. All the dirt that you see on the ground has just been collected in this bike in random various places. So we have got the forks still attached to the hub because one of the pinch bolts stripped out, so we got to get that fixed. The rear wheel, this base plate where your battery sits is just, I left it there just because it's there. Your motor, and just the motor itself is so disgustingly dirty. Look at all the... So that's got to go. And then here's all the other parts. And Cody he's worked. And there's controller, battery, bars, swing arm, seat. I mean, it's all here. So now it's just a matter of getting it all put back together. So that's it for Thanksgiving. That's our Thanksgiving. That's our Thanksgiving work right there. Next week, the next video, we're going to go through and clean all of these parts. That's the next thing we're going to do, is just get it all clean. Cody wants a couple more tools, which you're going to have to concede on, it sounds like. I don't know if I'm going to have much of an option, but get it all cleaned, get it all greased, and get it all put back together, and then get it put on Marketplace. So that's going to be it for this week for us. We will see you next week, where we just go through cleaning this whole bad boy up and getting it ready to go.